I was kind of evaluating myself on the way home from work, and the one thing that struck me was that I'm kind of a Pharisee. Yeah, we use the word Pharisee to usually mean bad things, though there were Pharisees in the Bible that were good. But much like brand names like chapstick has become like a household name in the sense that when you want some lip gloss, you say, "Can I borrow some of your chapstick?" Though it may not be that brand, that brand chapstick has monopolized that product. It's like Kleenex. Obviously, some are Kleenexes and some are different product names. But when I want a Kleenex, so I say I want a Kleenex. Well, the Pharisee, what is now become the Kleenex of all the brands, and it's the chapstick of all the lip gloss. It means a bad thing. So here I am evaluating myself, and I'm going, man, I used to think, well, Jesus would walk up to me and he would say, "You figured it out. You're the guy that loves me, that has done that." But I realized one thing, that the reason why the Pharisees were self-righteous is because they thought that when the Messiah came, that Messiah would waltz into the temple, would go up to them with the big open arms and hug and say, "You guys figured it out. Good job." But they received the opposite, and that shocked them. Because Jesus went up to them and said, "You're self-righteous. Yeah, you're doing all the right things, but your heart is wicked." Because the whole thing about the Bible speaks about the heart of a man. It's not what's on the outside, it's what's on the inside. It doesn't matter if you look holy and look spiritual. It doesn't matter. If your heart is wicked, all out the window. And I was remembering a story that I got to teach the 1st through 5th graders. It's the story of the Pharisee and the tax collector. It's Luke 18:9 through 14. It says, he was telling this parable, and he said, "To some who were confident in their own righteousness and looked down on everybody else, Jesus told this parable." Verse 10, "Two men went up to the temple to pray, one a Pharisee and the other a tax collector. The Pharisee stood up and prayed about himself, 'God, I thank you that I am not like other men, like robbers or evildoers, adulterers, or even like this tax collector,' as he points. 'I fast twice a week and give a tenth of all I get.' But the tax collector stood at a distance. He would not even look up to heaven, but he beat his breast and said, 'God, have mercy on me, a sinner.' I tell you the truth, that this man, rather than the other, went home justified before God. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted." And that just, it brought to light to me that, wow, I'm kind of like that Pharisee. I'm like, "Lord, look at me. I'm great. I do all the right things. And in my heart, I'm kind of wicked." Because I do believe that Jesus would walk up to me and say, "You're good job." But you know what? The whole idea was that, yeah, the tax collector was a sinner. But he was accepting his need for forgiveness and salvation. He knew that he was wicked. He admitted it right off the bat. First thing he said, "Forgive me, I'm a sinner." Beat his chest. He showed outward expressions and inward expressions and words of expressing his depravity. Yet the Pharisee was self-righteous about himself, and he did all the right things. In fact, he was doing more than he should. It speaks of how he used to fast more than that was normal for the custom, and he gives more than what was custom. I mean, we can be Pharisees and not even know. And I just realized, man, I'm kind of a Pharisee, because I forget that it says in Romans 3:23 that for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. All have sinned, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. And it just woke me up. I want to repent. And I repented, and I took that time and talked to God, and I just said, "Lord, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I was a Pharisee. You know what? It doesn't matter if I'm doing all the right things, because Romans 3:23 says that for all have sinned and fall short. Nothing I do, even if I obey you perfectly, makes me great. And the Pharisees were examples of people that did it perfectly, and yet, I mean, they did it to the T. They were like the best, of doing what they were asked to do. And I want men and women around the world to realize that, it's so easy to fall into that mindset and to assume that Jesus would come right up to us and tell us that we are the best. And if we expect that in our hearts, we should reevaluate ourselves, because we should hope that with Christ, that he would be spending time with those who don't know him, rather than being like the Pharisees who assumed that he would hang out with all the righteous people and the ones that were doing it right. But you know what? Let's not forget that Jesus came for the broken. And if Jesus were to walk by and we knew it was Christ, and not likely that won't happen. Obviously, he's resurrected, and the next time he comes, he's going to come with power. But if we were to be like, Lord, where are you going? Why are you hanging out with us? We're the cool group. We're the ones that have been doing all this time. We're the church group. Then we would forget the whole point of the gospel. It's for those that are broken. So let's have the right heart. Let's rid ourselves of the religious, pharisaical thoughts, thinking that we would be hanging out with Jesus all the time. And let's just say, hey, Christ, I would rather have you hang out with those that are sinners and need you more, O Lord, and help me see that I am wicked, and let me be like the tax collector who looks to the heavens, or who doesn't look to the heavens especially, and looks down in shame and knows that he's sinning and that he needs your salvation, Lord, and help us not be like the Pharisee, Lord, who is self-righteous in himself. I just encourage you guys to kind of do a heart check. We know that it's easy to kind of slip and get a little bit prideful in our hearts. So I love you guys. Have a good day.